Escape to the dark. My whole life changed that day. At 6:47 p.m., the sky turned purple. It was as if the world was witnessing its own end. I was at the airport. My flight had been canceled. Announcements were blaring over each other and people were shouting and screaming. Then, something happened. People started collapsing one by one. Most of them fell silently, drifting down like leaves. It was unbearable to watch. I wanted to run. My instincts pulled me toward the runway. There, a plane was sitting with its doors open, ready for takeoff. A small group of people were scrambling aboard in panic. I ran too. The only thing I could think as I stepped inside was, we need to get away. Now a man had taken the captain's seat. He wasn't wearing a uniform, but there was a strange determination in his eyes. "We're flying!" he shouted. No one argued. The plane barely made it off the ground. As the engines roared, I clung to my seat and stared at the purple glow below. There was no saving those left behind. As we drifted through the sky, I realized our only hope was the night, and we were chasing it. Sitting in my seat, my heart was pounding wildly. Next to me, a young woman was trembling, her face deathly pale. Her name was Emma, I found out a few minutes later. She, like me, was struggling to understand what had just happened. The man flying the plane introduced himself as Marcus. He wasn't a real pilot. He had once worked as a private jet technician. He knew enough about cockpit controls to get us airborne, and with no other choice, we had to trust him. There were others on board with us. Sarah, a middle-aged doctor, quiet, but her eyes betrayed her fear. Jonas, a former soldier. He looked tough, but his movements were anxious. Mila, a 10-year-old girl. She was alone. We still didn't know why. Rashid, an airport security officer. He was one of the first aboard and now kept staring out the window. Me, the narrator. Just an ordinary person. Not a hero, not wise, just scared and trying to survive. For the first few minutes, no one spoke. The only sound was the hum of the engines. Then Marcus came out and told us something very important. We have to stay away from the sun. We must follow the night. If we stop, we die. I checked the last notifications on my phone. The news headlines were like screams: purple light massacre, mass deaths during daylight, authorities clueless about the cause. One thing was now certain. This wasn't a natural disaster. This was something else, and we were racing against time. The plane glided silently through the dark sky. We were all so exhausted and so scared that we had lost all sense of time. Marcus came out of the cockpit, his face as pale as chalk. "We're running out of fuel," he said. "We have to land somewhere, God, and we have very little time. Dawn is coming." My heart felt like it was going to explode, landing, refueling, and taking off again. If only it were that simple. While looking at old maps, Sarah found an abandoned airbase. It wasn't too far. If the wind favored us, maybe we could make it there before dawn. Maybe. Marcus pushed the throttle all the way. The engine screamed and the plane shook. Little Mila clung tightly to the armrest of her seat. I felt just like her. Small, helpless, and hopeless. Minutes dragged on like hours. The sky on the horizon began to lighten. A pale blue line was already appearing. We were running out of time. "Hold on!" Marcus shouted. We finally saw the airbase. It looked abandoned, the runway littered with debris, but we had no choice. We descended. The wheels slammed into the runway. The plane wobbled for a moment, then stabilized. But the sun... The sun was rising fast. We ran off the plane. I grabbed Mila in my arms and the others scattered, desperately searching for shelter. Our eyes frantically scanned the surroundings until we spotted a large, rusty hatch embedded in the concrete. It looked like some kind of underground storage. Jonas wrenched it open. Inside was pure darkness, and maybe deadly traps too. But we didn't think. Before the sun could catch us, we threw ourselves into the dark. The moment we dropped below, the sharp smell of rust and mold hit our faces. It was pitch black. Only Rashid had a flashlight, and its trembling beam made ominous shadows dance on the walls. I slid down the metal ladder, clutching Mila tightly. Sarah was right beside me, her breathing uneven. We were all terrified, but no one dared to speak. It felt like if we did, we might awaken something. It must have been an old storage facility or bunker. There were shelves, broken furniture, and toppled barrels everywhere. Marcus said we need to go deeper inside. If we stay too close to the surface, we might still be affected by light leaks. We followed him. Our footsteps echoed off the bare walls. Every corner felt like it was hiding something. Then we reached a door. It had a rusty, barely readable sign. Critical section. Unauthorized entry prohibited. Jonas pushed the door open. A blast of cold air hit us, and inside, there was a strange hum. It sounded mechanical, but also almost like whispering. Rashid shone his flashlight around. I couldn't believe my eyes. The walls were covered in tangled circuits, cables, and strange, unknown machines. It looked like an abandoned research facility. Sarah whispered, "This isn't a normal bunker." And just then we heard footsteps approaching from somewhere deep inside. This place was far more dangerous than we thought. Maybe we weren't alone.